Time Warner Cable's Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. Our guest, Paul Koretz, member of the Los Angeles City Council, now one of the most senior members of the Los Angeles City Council. After 4 years, you're in the top 5, and that's because we have 7 new members out of 15 as a result of the last election cycle. How's it going?
Well, so far so good, although we were on break for 2 weeks out of the 5 weeks that we've been together, so it's hard to get a sense. But it's really amazing with 7 new council members, new mayor, new controller, new city attorney. The city has rarely had this kind of a sea change in membership.
But what's interesting about the new members on the city council, as well as the citywide officers, is that most of them have governmental experience, be it as a staffer to a city council member or in the state legislature like yourself. And so do you feel as if many of them hit the ground running?
I think they do, and it's an interesting result of term limits. It's exactly the opposite of what people argued for. They said, we'll get citizen politicians.
No.
The irony is the great council members that of LA City's past, the Joel Waxes, and Zev Yaroslavskys, and Marvin Browdys, none of them came from government.
No.
They all were private citizens. Now with term limits, I think the voters realize that you get a short period of time, so they're looking for people that will hit the ground running.
Right.
So almost everyone that gets elected has some government experience.
It's true. I want to speak about the Melrose area. We know as well as anyone that Hollywood came back in significant ways as a result of what was redevelopment. Redevelopment has been eliminated as a result of an action of the state government. You weren't there, I believe, when that happened.
No, I sure wasn't.
But there are steps that localities can take to try to revitalize and improve business areas such as Melrose, and they're through what's known as business improvement districts. So tell us about what's happening with Melrose.
Well, and we're also trying to do this in Westwood Village. We're actually a little bit ahead. We have some of the legendary shopping areas in my district, but a lot of them have gotten a little bit run down, and there are a lot of things that the city might have done 40 years ago, but we're not in the financial position to do it now.
And there's no redevelopment money to use to try to plow into revitalization.
Exactly. And because my area overall is more affluent, even if the business districts aren't, we wouldn't get redevelopment money anyway.
Yeah, farther east was where.
So all the property owners kick in, and we now have new landscaping, we have trees trimmed that wouldn't get trimmed, we have sidewalks fixed, we have signage to get to all the stores in Westwood Village, and now Melrose is doing the same thing.
Terrific.
So we hope the storefronts get spruced up, and the sidewalks and the trees, and it'll look much better, and it'll attract more business to Melrose.
I think it's fair to say that in the last mayoral election, the Department of Water and Power played a disproportionate role in the election. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay, so the Department of Water and Power continues to be a hotspot for elected officials in Los Angeles. The latest dealt with their sick pay policy.
Yes.
What can you tell us?
Well, I did a motion, once we found out about this, I did a motion to correct it.
And this being what?
This being a policy that apparently has existed since 1981, whereby even though there's a cap of 10 sick days, employees in DWP have been informally allowed to take basically as many as they needed.
Wow.
And not necessarily with proof of illness, et cetera. So the last statistics showed that 10% of DWP employees took at least 10 days more than the 10-day cap. Some as many as 50 or 60, and no oversight, no responsibility. They figured that in the last 3 years, they used up over 400 years worth of time.
To be continued. He's Paul Koretz. I'm Brad Pomerance. You're watching Time Warner Cable's Local Edition.